two high-energy practices today. I'm excited about the way the team came out and handled the double session again. I think they're showing some maturity here as we get into training camp and starting to move into the middle of the second week of training camp to come out and practice with this kind of energy for two practices. I thought was a good sign for this football team. Close to 500 law enforcement professionals and their families are here today. I think you guys know how near and dear that is to my heart, from my grandfather to my uncle to my brother who's been on the NYPD for 23 years. To have this many law enforcement personnel and their families come out to watch us practice is really a very humbling experience for us. And I'm glad we were able to put on a good show for them, and I hope they had a great experience. Questions?
Any depth chart changes?
Well, the one thing we've decided on is Chris Laviano will be our backup quarterback right now, and Mike Bamonte will be third. And that's the way we're going to go forward, and we're going to try to give that guy, in this case Chris, enough reps so that he can get ready. So if he has to go in the game, he's best prepared. But I'll say what I said at the beginning. I think we're fortunate. I have the utmost confidence in Mike that if we needed him to go in the game and win the game for us, that he could do it.
What went into the decision?
You know what? I think it was time to make the decision, and we just felt like Chris was throwing it a little bit better. From a decision-making standpoint, I don't know that there was a big difference, but I do think in terms of throwing the ball, he threw it just a little bit better.
Is that something that can change if you see big differences over the next week or two?
I think it would be hard because I think the backup quarterback now is going to get a lot of reps, and the guy who's third doesn't get as many reps, and that's the nature of football practice. So I don't see that changing right now for the first game. If something were to happen and you go into a bye week, down the road, anything can happen. But for right now, Chris is our backup quarterback.
How did you guys make it through the scrimmage yesterday physically?
I thought we came through pretty well. A couple things. There's some guys from the scrimmage that are going to be out maybe for a day or two. I'll get you an updated list tomorrow. I know Dre went down today in the first practice. We've gotten him evaluated. We're still waiting kind of on the reading. So we'll get you a little bit of an update tomorrow before practice.
Did the captain results surprise you at all? Any surprises?
It really didn't.
No.
It really didn't. I was actually very pleased. It kind of confirmed a lot of the things I thought about all five of those guys. And I didn't go into the process looking for five, but similar to last year, I thought that when I looked at the numbers, there was a distinct line of demarcation in terms of who the players wanted to be the captains.
How much can Gary Nova improve leadership-wise from last year being able to do it, kind of knowing more what it takes this time?
I think what allows him to be a better leader is I think he's got a better grasp on the offense than he's ever had. And when you really know what all 11 players are doing out there, you can spend more time leading the other players on the field. Make sure that you're directing the traffic. Make sure you're encouraging who needs to be encouraged. Making sure maybe you're motivating somebody who needs to be motivated. All the things that the great quarterbacks do. Now Gary, because of his comfort level in the system, has a chance to do them because he doesn't have to think so much about what his job is. I think he's getting to the point now where what his job is becoming second nature.
Anything stick out at you after watching the film of the scrimmage? Any individual performances? Any other impressions?
I think Andre Patton's coming on. I think John Simmons is coming on. Those two guys, I think, are starting to make a push. I thought the offense started better, which is, I think I might have said that yesterday, but I thought they started better. They didn't start as well in the half scrimmage. And I think our defense, when allowed to use everything at their disposal, is very difficult to run the ball on. That remains a constant for us.
Ben Muska is probably his first offseason being fully healthy. Just what difference have you seen on him? Does he seem a little more explosive to you?
He's such a high motor guy. I think he's stronger than he's been just by virtue of having that offseason, which would make him more explosive. But the thing that jumps out to me is he's just such a high motor guy. He seems to be everywhere on the football field. He really is a great example for the young players in the program to watch a guy coming off as many surgeries as he's coming off of. The way he practices on a day in and day out basis, it's as good as it gets.
You mentioned Laviano. Were there any other significant tweaks or noticeable tweaks to the depth chart?
I'm trying to go through the positions in my mind. There's nothing. I don't think there would be anything earth-shattering. Nothing really that's going to change the rep count.
Are you concerned about the depth at cornerback?
Cornerback?
Yeah.
I think at that position, kind of like offensive line, we're trying to build enough depth to have enough guys to get through a season with. So, I don't know if concern is the right word, but it's something that we pinpointed early in training camp. We're still working towards it. I'm not comfortable with it just yet.
At tight end, and I know I asked you about this last week. You said some of the younger guys are getting some more extra reps. What have you seen after another week of, from Matt Flanagan and even Charles Scarf?
Sure, yeah, I think you got the right two guys. I think those guys are playing consistent football. And if they can continue to improve over the next 2.5 weeks, they're going to have a chance to help us win football games. Both those guys right now, if we played, would be in the game for us. And I'm pleased with how they work. They're still both young, and they're going to be much better players later on in their career. But right now, I'm pleased with where they are. And if they continue to work 2.5 weeks from now, they'll help us.
Your thoughts on Eric LeGrand, Adam announcement that they're going to be captains for that game?
I think it's great. I don't know if you could have two better examples from those two football programs that are going to play that night. And to have them there, it's going to be a special night because it'll be the first Big Ten game in the history of our program. It'll be at home. I think it'll be an electric atmosphere, and having them there will just ramp it up one more notch.